Hello, listeners. We're all here to have fun.
But we'd like to take a moment to encourage you to always drink responsibly.
Never drink and drive.
If you have a complicated relationship with alcohol or other substances and you want to talk about it,
you can call 1-800-662-4357 for support.
Thank you for listening.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Welcome to Matt and Friends Drink the Universe.
Welcome back, everyone, to Matt and Friends Drink the Universe. Today, we're going to do How Did We Get Beer? And as we established in the very first episode, you don't necessarily have to bring beer to How Did We Get Beer. We all brought a drink, and what we're going to do is we're going to go around the table. We're going to talk about what we drank and discuss, taste, and enjoy. As always, I have some great friends drinking the universe with me here, so we're going to go around the table.
Hey, what up, everybody? It's Chris again. Glad to be back. I brought an interesting beer that I'm happy to share with everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks for having me on, Matt. My name's Dan. Today, I brought a New Riff single barrel pick that a group that I'm in did last year.
Hi, everybody. This is Andy. Thanks for having me on, Matt. I brought a double IPA, a single hop IPA, and a Pilsner.
All right. Andy is here to drink tonight, bringing 3.
Yeah, really. I feel
I wasn't sure how many I was
inadequate.
supposed to bring, so.
Well, you completed the assignment.
Yeah, and then
and with bonus points.
Yeah,
So that's all
went
we
for
really
extra
need right
credit.
now. Absolutely.
This episode sponsored by Uber.
I told you I have a DD tonight. My lovely wife, Siobhan, dropped me off here and is picking me up because just in case, I didn't want to be irresponsible, you know?
Chris, why don't you go ahead and get us started? What did you bring along? Refresh my memory since I forgot from when you said it 30 seconds ago.
So this is Bend. It's an American Pale Ale. So a couple days ago, we started December, of course. Spoiler alert if you didn't know when this was recorded in, but it's important for my story. So it is December, and as all the little kids get their advent calendars, now adults can play along as well. So I got my very own beer advent calendar this year. Siobhan got it for me as an early Christmas gift. So I've been struggling to keep up, I'm not going to lie. So I have not been drinking a beer a day like I hope I would be able to, but some other things have been getting in the way. So I was like a little behind. This is the beer for December 4th that I brought to share with everybody. So really cool concept from Tanzos beer distributor. Every year, I guess for the last few years, they've been doing an advent calendar. And now they do different styles. So this was the IPA advent calendar. I think they have a stout or like maybe a dark beer one.
Yeah. I need to get me one of those.
And I think they also do just like a generic variety one. And then this year, I guess they added the seltzer one, which is pretty lame in my opinion, but don't crucify me, seltzer lovers out there. I just don't like them.
Here comes the emails from the seltzer crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to crack this guy. I get all the disappointingly sounding
that
ones.
was multi-stage, though. You pulled
It's
on
very
it, there were like
dramatic,
4
actually.
different sounds going on in there.
Pour a little for myself and pass it
All
to my
right.
friends here. Go to town.
Coming in.
Yeah, I'm going to start giving myself strikes for every time I forget my fancy glass.
I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning of the episode, so I know you forgot the fancy Yeti.
I mean, if they're 5 episodes deep and don't know who you are, at this
Yeah,
point,
that's what I was like. I don't
maybe
really think you have
maybe they're
to.
really into the theme of the podcast, and
Could be. Once again, Yeti, drinking out of your glass that you're not making that shade of yellow tumbler anymore, in case I haven't said that in 9 episodes so far.
Non-spawn, but wannabe spawn.
Yeah.
Well, cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cheers, everyone.
get like tangerine or apricot smell on that.
Yeah, for an American, it's very citrusy, which is very nice. And it's very bright.
And that's an IPA?
It's an American. It says an American Pale Ale.
Okay.
So they kind of snuck one in there. But maybe it's a Pale Ale case, not a IPA case. I don't know.
Pale ale kind of advent.
But this feels like it's on the border of being an India Pale Ale instead of an American.
It has very similar characteristics as a New England, I think.
Got
Yeah.
that bitter. It's good. It's
Yeah.
very good.
It's very good, yes.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
How are the other ones out of the calendar so
far, everything has been outstanding. I have a White Castle beer. I was gonna bring it, but it's a small can, so I didn't want to not have enough to share.
Sorry to cut you off. White Castle, like White Castle sandwiches?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I don't think it's.
That's pretty.
I mean, they have
funny.
the actual White Castle logo on the can, so it must have been some sort of collab project. I don't think it tastes like burgers or anything, but it is pretty hilarious looking.
I think the last one alive is still in Phillipsburg, isn't it?
No, there's a White
no,
Castle
there's
right
one-
off of MacArthur Road. Isn't
Yeah,
there?
Oh my gosh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Go get
I
your
mean,
case.
if White Castle can go beer, Arby's did a bourbon. You know,
Well, there you go.
like a
There's
month ago.
Yeah.
I've seen Wawa coffee something or other at Giant, which is weird, right
Yeah.
next to the Giant brand, whatever concoction they're coming up with now.
Oh, there
too.
you go.
Yeah, tons of different collabs now. It's like the thing
Yeah.
to do is to do a beer or whiskey collab, something out there. You know, we had the Game of Thrones whiskeys, which
Okay.
Oh,
weren't-
yeah, the
weren't
scotches.
good. Yeah. Not really good, but
And they
you
went
know,
with mainstream distilleries for
it
those
was
too.
it was Johnny Walker, right?
They may
or-
have done one, but I can't remember. I'm not a huge Scotch guy, but like the distilleries involved in that or ones that most Scotch drinkers would recognize.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm wondering what they tasted like. Did they taste like very cold, dead people?
Well, no, now that you say
Brothers
that,
and
though,
sisters.
Johnny Walker did do a Fire and Ice
Okay.
Scotch release, and there was something with that one where out of the bottle it was clear, but once you got it cold, it turned like blue or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, that's the one we had, and they recommended serving it chilled,
Yeah.
which I do not prefer for Scotch, so it was kind of weird to me,
Yeah.
and that's why I never liked it. But it mixed really well for you mix like cider in it or something like that. It turned out really nice.
Yeah, I have a bottle of that in the back of the cabinet at home. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. That's a good problem to have,
Well.
to have forgotten about the liquors you have.
Yeah, don't ask my wife.
If I didn't know what that was beforehand, I wouldn't be clear in like identifying that.
Not if you didn't know that it was an
Yeah, if I
American
didn't know,
IPA right
I
up
wouldn't
front.
be confident that I'd have the right distinction on that. I wouldn't be. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that I wasn't. It was confusing to me.
Yeah.
It had all the citrus and hoppy
Yes,
notes
it did.
of a pale ale of some sort.
Sure.
You know, yeah. And then that's where I get fuzzy too. You
Yeah.
know, who knows what the difference is
Yeah.
between everything else.
And I've said this before, I'm not like a giant IPA fan by any stretch. I prefer what I drink beer-wise to be like a Guinness porter, vanilla porter out of a bourbon barrel, just perfectly fine with me. But I thought it was a decent
Yeah.
APA.
APA, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
I did look it up on Untapped.
Now, there you go.
And they just listed as an American pale ale as
Okay.
well. So
Okay.
there you go.
Every once in a while, we pull out the Untapped app just to,
Another non-spawn, but you know,
yeah,
we would take it.
call me,
Yeah.
send me an email. We can make this happen. All right, that'll bring us over to Dan.
Yeah, we're switching to whiskey now, though.
All right.
So I mean, you can jump past me to Andy if you want to stay on the beer theme, and then we'll finish it up with the whiskey.
I think it's the
Ooh.
administration's call here.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that means me. We'll stick with beer because once we get to me, we're gonna be way off the beaten path.
What do you have over there?
We didn't get to me yet, but I
Well, we
I
all
have-
talked about what we had. You
So
didn't-
I have a vodka-based roasted jalapeno and cucumber, and also on the other side here we have torched chipotle.
is that seltzer? What is that?
It's
I see what it is.
vodka-based
Okay.
cocktail in a can.
All right.
To give you a little more info, well, you know what? I'm talking about it. Let's just
Yeah,
do it.
I
So
was
we're
gonna
already
say-
we're already down the rabbit hole.
Well,
So
yeah.
the first episode for How Did We Get Beer, I had this big elaborate story how I climbed a pyramid in flip-flops right after I had drank a bunch of mezcal after getting off a bus. No big story this time. Actually, rather simple. I know Chris really likes spicy stuff and has
true.
made fun of me most of my life for not liking spicy stuff.
Extra true.
Andy has these mysterious, wonderful beer connections from all over the place and has said things like, hey, I have this spicy cocktail in a can. Would you like to try one for the podcast? And the answer is absolutely yes. So that is as deep as the thought train went on this one.
Amen.
To mix metaphors, because trains clearly go, well, I guess they do go underground in certain situations.
Look, your metaphor doesn't have to make sense. We're drinking.
True.
And Matt came over to
And
my
now I'm wondering if you're pre-gaming before the podcast.
Matt came over to my townhouse community, almost like a drug deal gone bad. He parked his minivan outside. I walked out the cans. And
Very
that was it.
incognito.
Did you have the cans in a brown paper bag?
Yes, I did. It was
All
it.
Yeah.
And then that was it. So it
That's
was
pretty
good.
essential.
Then I paged him on the way out. It was good.
A little, I mean, we've exchanged beer at work too. And
Yes.
that you kind of have to under the coat and
Yeah.
out the back door so nobody knows what's going
I
on.
put it in his lunchbox in the fridge. It's all
yeah.
So I'm not a huge beer guy, but around the holidays, I usually get some. Well, 3 years ago, I think it was, I picked up a 6-pack of Sam Adams and went over to my kid's school to pick her up. It was sitting in the back of my truck, like right by the door, and I opened the door to let her in, and the whole 6-pack fell on the ground, and 3 bottles of Sam Adams broke in my kid's school parking lot. And the best part about it is one of our coworkers, Ellie, who his kid goes there, happened to come up right as this was all happening. And
I'm sure she loved it too.
I'm standing in my kid's parking lot. My kid's right there. There's beer all over the ground.
Oh my God.
I'm like, well, I'm going to jail.
Did you just peel out at that point?
At that point, I really feel like that's the only acceptable exit you can make, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, just slink away.
Get in the car and run away. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Today we're going to talk about chemistry, kids.
Yeah.
This is the smell of fermentation gone bad. I guess we'll start off with the torched peach chipotle here. We'll pass that one around. And then I will also open the roasted jalapeno cucumber. I think I'm going to open with that one. If anybody needs water, by the way, there's some back there on the newly installed dry bar.
I'm going to start with the torch peach chipotle as well.
All right. So what do we got
Cheers.
here? Cheers. I smell cucumber. That's
Okay.
not bad. That's pretty. It reminds me of when I used to travel for work a lot. There would always be a cucumber water thing in the lobby of the hotel. That's what it reminds me of.
See, you're on a different one than the rest of us right now, I think.
Yeah, we're on the torch peach chipotle.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
hold
this
on.
is-
I'll change cup.
Get with the program here. Come
All
on.
right. All right. That
You
definitely,
taste
smells.
the spice of this. I really enjoy this.
Yeah. It honestly doesn't feel like a alcoholic beverage.
What's the ABV on that?
Yeah, that was just
a
gonna
little
ask
heat.
that.
There's a little heat there.
It's just in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even hit my tongue.
It lingers though. Like
It-
it's
it
just
stays.
it's that chipotle. It's not like hot, spicy hot, but it's there. It's for sure there. All right, so 5.5%.
I do not get anywhere near as much peach that I thought we would get out of this.
That's true. It's from Kickstand Distillery out in Jersey, I believe. It is Four Birds Distilling Company out of Jersey Shore, PA. Not New Jersey, Jersey Shore, PA. It's a very different
That's
place.
up my hometown area.
That's a
Yeah.
That's the middle of Nowhereville, Pennsylvania.
Yes, it
Just
is.
kidding.
Nice.
No, it's a nice area up that way.
I'm pretty confident saying there's nothing else out there in the market like that. I think it's very refreshing. Different.
For sure.
Yeah.
And again, I slammed seltzers a little bit ago, and
We
this
all
is,
did at
this
one
is
point.
in that realm. But it's the seltzer itself that I don't like, and this doesn't have that flavor to it. So I don't know what they're using as the carbonated process, but it works really well.
I could see you sitting there with those red hot chips of yours.
You know, honestly, I'm a little surprised because out of the two, like I honestly wasn't really anticipating enjoying either one, to be honest with you, given the
Yeah.
the stated contents of the can. But the Chipotle one's better. Like, and I'm not usually a big fan of Chipotle. I was expecting to like the cucumber one.
I think Chipotle would be more of like a sipper just because of
Yeah.
that initial kick it'd be.
Yeah.
Just sit back and enjoy that and just whatever.
I also feel like this is one of those things where you could probably drink about 10, 15 of these, not realizing what you're doing, and then go to stand up and not be able to walk straight.
The cucumber one,
Did we say
I
what
could.
the ABV was? Did I miss that?
5.5 on one of them.
Okay. That's not bad.
No, that's really good.
That's
Yeah.
like less than a lot of mainstream beers now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's about my threshold for spicy, to be honest. I'm a huge wuss when it comes
With
to
the
spice.
Chipotle?
That's about my
It's
threshold.
still
Yeah, the
there.
Chipotle.
You're good with
Like-
that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It's still there. It's not
yeah,
going.
I
Yeah.
tried that one and I moved to the cucumber, and I mean that was 2 or 3 minutes ago since the last time I sipped it, and that Chipotle is still spicy there.
Yeah.
I have to be honest,
That's a
there's
little
not
crazy.
enough flavor in either of them.
Okay.
So there's a benefit there. So there's no flavors I dislike. But at the same time, I feel like there's not much flavor there. I wouldn't necessarily be reaching into the fridge because I'm going, ooh, this is a tasty beverage I want to drink.
I could see drinking one of these just, hot day, sunny,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
outside, whatever, like you need something to kind of, you're parched, you want something to kind of quench your thirst. Okay, that makes sense.
But with the spicy, if I just mowed the lawn, I'm not coming in the house and reaching for a spicy beverage.
No, and honestly, I still haven't taken another sip and I'm still feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even now,
Yeah,
like,
it's in my throat. It's not letting me go.
Yeah. It's
I've got a little left in this cup and I was going to finish it, but now I'm kind of afraid of what's going to happen if I do.
Like I don't like seltzers particularly, so like this would be something that I would reach for over them definitely.
It
Yeah.
does. It does
Yeah.
remind me of the hot Doritos, the
Flamin' Hot.
Flamin' Hots?
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of. That sticks in the back of my throat kind of the same way. You know, we do the whole drinkables theme here, and granted, that's dollar store style, but I feel like this would be good with like a barbecue wing and a little blue cheese. Like, I think it would actually work really well. Or ribs is like, like sweet rib or something
almost
like that.
anything. These are definitely drinks that you can pair with a lot of different foods.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the Chipotle one for like the backyard barbecue smoke food kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where, like you want to showcase the flavor of the food and not like muddle things up. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
No,
But like you were
I'm getting
saying,
hungry.
like kind of a small market there, though.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
Might be a little self-serving on my part, but I'm doing it.
Stellar Sip.
I would agree that, again, we have hit things that we didn't know were going to be good,
Right.
and they ended up being good. Not out of this world. I'm not enamored with it, but it's good.
It is good. It is. I mean, this whole drink the universe thing, we have
Well done,
found
Matt.
some
Matt,
lovely
have you
worlds.
redeemed yourself for once?
I might have actually.
This might be one of the first episodes where Matt brought something that was good.
Not a total disaster that resulted in
Let's
somebody
not go to the
screaming.
creator and the host of this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was kind of the funny part of it.
That's the truth.
There's
That
been
is
some
true.
truly egregious things that I brought.
Exactly.
I'm still sitting over here with some burn in my chest from that Chipotle 5 minutes later. It's not bad, no, but I can still feel it.
It just left. So
Just left?
however long that was, probably like,
Well, I'm trying to drain this one so I can get to the other one. So we'll.
oh my God. Catch up, Matt.
There we go. I do like this one.
The cucumber one?
That's the cucumber. Yeah, the roasted jalapeno. I don't get a lot of jalapeno.
See, I wish I would have tried that one first
I see. Yeah.
because I don't know how spicy it was because the Chipotle was already in my mouth. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
tough to know.
There is
on
a
the back of the can. It does have like
Yeah, the Chipotle is the hottest.
yeah,
We should have said
mild,
it-
medium, hot.
Yeah.
See, this is why I'm sorry, Rob. We let you down. We didn't explain what's the art on the can. I'm very sorry.
you would have been talking about Scoville units already.
Yeah, exactly. On the can here, they have a little guide as to how spicy it is. So there's mild, medium, and hot. The Chipotle one is hot, which is their hottest one. And the cucumber is mild, which is the lowest.
I like the packaging. It looks
Yeah.
cool.
Very clear. Yeah. Black can with white lettering.
And the black
Kickstand also
black
has
top on the top.
a lot of they have really good marketing. A lot of there's a few
And it's-
NFL players that are marketing it.
Yeah.
just check them out. Yeah,
They're skinny cans. So all the girls love the skinny cans.
of course.
I mean,
Good marketing.
there's practical joke potential here, right? You're halfway through the party, you swap out all these lovely cucumber ones
the
right up front
Chipotle
for the
ones.
torch Chipotle, just spin them around and wait for people to grab them or fish them out and
Yeah,
not
because
read.
after a few of them, you're not seeing straight anyway. You're not going to notice the difference in the label.
No,
So-
it's rather subtle.
There's just a world of difference in the temperature between
Yes.
the mild and the
Ooh.
hot. Like, I mean, the mild did nothing. Like the hot, though.
Yeah, it's still there. So,
You guys want to know some uninteresting facts about myself?
sure.
I was the first one out in the 2022 Easton Hot Pepper Contest. I was the first one out.
Really?
I don't know that you don't get an award for being the first one out,
No.
but I made it to the
At
fifth
least
pepper.
it wouldn't
and that
be a
was it.
good award anyway.
That
so.
was it.
Did they open with the Carolina Reaper?
That
or?
was the closing one. I can't remember what I made it to, but it was the fifth one, and it was just no, thank you. I mean, I
Ooh.
was sweating, and it was like that was it for me.
Yeah, if I were 18 still,
Yeah.
I would be all in
No.
on those. But nowadays, not a chance.
Yeah, I'm 41, and that was a terrible decision.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
sick for like 3 days. There's no way.
If anybody does it next year, we'll bring the Matt and Friends Drink the Universe cheering section. We'll all be drunk standing there in front of you just cheering words that don't
I don't
make
know
any
if you should
sense.
stand directly in front
Probably
of that
not,
person.
no.
Maybe
Off
off
to
to
the
the
side.
side. Yeah,
Off to the
definitely
side.
off to the side.
They gave me about 3 gallons of whole milk afterwards. It was perfect.
Probably not behind him either.
This reminds me, when I was 21, I had a prairie fire that night. If you don't
Oh,
know what that
God.
shot
Oh,
is,
Jesus, yeah.
it's tequila, habanero pepper, and Tabasco sauce all in the same shot glass. That was one of the ones that almost killed me that night. But to put it out, I tried to be the true champ, and I did double shot of Bailey's, and that actually put the fire out because that was.
So you got to be careful because that can like curdle in your stomach then too.
Which I probably did later on that night.
Yeah.
There was a guy, and he actually lives not far from us. His signature for anybody on their 21st birthdays, he'd buy him a shot of tequila with a spoonful of mayonnaise in it.
What?
Yeah.
That's just
I
evil.
can't remember the name of that shot, but it was.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah,
Holy
it was
cow.
bad. Well, I mean, your
The
21st
I don't like
birthday
you,
shots,
right,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, you don't know any better. That's the
Yeah.
whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at us being all critical now.
I buy newly 21-year-olds a double of Jaeger.
Oh,
Oh, gosh.
I did that
yeah, I
to my
can't
friends
drink
in
that.
college, and I just,
I take them out for good IPAs. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
No.
that's it. No.
no. You're going to start off in the exact same position I did.
balled up on the floor in front of the toilet
Yeah.
in the morning.
Pretty
Same
much.
position you were in.
Think about your life choices. Here's a double shot of Jaeger.
All right, we're halfway through, and
are
we're
halfway
doing
through.
good.
We are doing good. We
Like,
are doing good.
Things are looking up.
I'm
I
a
think.
little scared because normally the floor drops out at some point, but
No, I don't think it's happening.
The
I'm
ride is
calling
still
it right now.
going.
Yeah, I'm calling it right now. I think we have a steady climb the
Okay.
whole time.
The way we like it.
so Andy, you're up next. You might have overpacked for this excursion today.
Well, I
Let's see
wasn't
what we
really. It
got
wasn't
going
really
on.
told what I needed to bring, so I was like, "Hey, whatever." Okay, so first on my list, I have a friend from the West Coast that I do beer trading with. I have a double IPA from Monkish called Foggy Windows. It's ABV of about 8.1%, and it's a New England.
All right.
Crack her open.
Now, is monk-ish? Is that somebody in half a monk outfit? Somebody who has only taken half a vow of silence, so they can only say curse words, or how does that work?
No, it's that detective guy.
Adrian Monk.
But
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just, he's really bad at his
It's
job.
a side hustle.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that guy was really good. Oh,
no,
I
that's
see what
the-
you're saying, being
yeah,
monk-ish.
yeah, he caught on. It
so
took a bit.
maybe he's not quite as OCD.
No, I think the OCD just ruins everything about him. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of IPAs.
Yeah. Is it
That
the
one-
bitterness?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's funny because over the years, that was my original reason for not liking IPAs. Now I love them. And I think it's just lost on, like, I don't feel the bitterness anymore because I drink them so often. And now all my palate focuses on is what different citrus flavors, what different cream flavors come through. Like, all of that is what I pay attention to.
For myself, I've never been a huge beer guy, but more recently I've started drinking a little bit more with some of the lagers and Doppelbocks, stuff like that, and bourbon barrel aged beer. I have yet to find one I didn't like. So
You didn't like.
yeah,
Okay.
all the ones I've tried so far I've really enjoyed. So
I always find that they can be so overpowering to your palate. But if all you're doing is drinking a beer at the end of the night,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. That's great. But it can ruin like a meal.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. I think a two better
This
of an
is really
IPA
good.
will put down the taste of food for sure.
It's very hyper fresh.
So I am admittedly all over the map. I really like dry red wine. I like porters and stouts. I will have a White Claw occasionally if the mood strikes me. And I saw that eye roll over there.
no, I was kind of leaning my head, kind of agreeing to you because on first sip, I'm like, it's okay, but
Yeah.
now going back again, trying it again, it's like anything else.
So you probably wouldn't like the true West Coast IPAs, like the more piney and the more
Probably not.
the real like those real strong,
Yeah.
potent IPAs.
I went to the Delaware beaches and we did like a brewery tour.
Okay.
My father-in-law and I did it with a group of their neighbors and everything. And I think we went to like 6 different micro brew places and it was like all IPAs. except
Remember
for
which
this-
ones?
No, not off
That's
the top of
okay.
my head. They were all in the Bethany, Rehoboth area.
Yeah.
But there was one bar there. They had sour beers. And I'd never had sour beer before. So I'm like,
was
all right.
it Burley Oak?
Okay.
Okay.
It was like 5 years ago. And
Okay.
I was also pretty hammered by the end of the thing. So. But they had sour beer. So I thought, all right, everybody's ordering a flight. So, I picked a couple and then I had them throw I think it was like a raspberry sour beer on the end of it. Holy shit. My entire life, I have never had anything suck the moisture and the fun out of my life as quickly as that sour beer did.
Right before the pandemic, I feel like sours were making a really strong run, almost eclipsing IPAs for a little bit. And throughout the pandemic, I feel like they dropped off a little bit.
Okay.
and they're still very prevalent in the beer scene, but they didn't overtake IPA. Like everybody was saying, oh, sours are the next IPAs. They're going to be, everybody's going to be making them. They're going to be all you see in breweries. And it really never happened. I feel like it's 50-50 at the most between IPAs and sours right now at the craft breweries that do that, really random beer brewing.
I feel like the sour beers aren't as accessible. Like, you can be like not a beer guy and drink an IPA and you're fine. But like if you're not a beer person and you pick up a sour,
I agree.
that's true.
I do not like the sours because they just have, it's one-dimensional. It, like you said, it sucks all of the moisture out of your mouth, and I get no flavor after that. I just my palate cannot handle.
It's actually a perfect description of truly what it does.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had some that are like a liquid Sour Patch Kid, but I also had one that Siobhan gave me because I think she does like
She's
sours.
a sour beer fairy,
And it was some sort of pie in a can, and I don't remember what it was, but it had a pie motif going on the front, and it tasted like a slightly sour blueberry pie, and it was the only sour.
that was probably one of the Lost Tavern ones.
I think it was, yeah.
And some of those, I've said, they're not really sours. Sure, okay, I guess maybe you made them the same way you make your other sours, but whatever else you did during that process has turned it into a good beer, in my opinion. Because there's been one or two of them that I've really liked as well. So.
All right.
Again, we're not the experts on sour beers, but I just feel like for me personally, I can't do them.
Is there a type of beer that you wish that breweries would make more of?
Free.
The free beer market, very unsaturated.
like a specific style that you wish more breweries would focus their
I
attention
don't
on.
necessarily think so, but that's
Okay.
because I'm an IPA fan. So
right.
it's rough. I have it good. It's hard for me to say there's something that I feel I'm lacking.
Bourbon barrel vanilla porters. One of the best one I ever had was from Goose Island when I visited the brewery down in Philly halfway through a bachelor party, which when you start drinking that kind of beer when you're halfway through a bachelor party, you don't remember the Phillies game at the end of the night. That's the moral of that
no,
story.
you definitely wouldn't.
No,
They
but
won then, I guess.
it was
Interestingly
good.
enough, though, Trogs is releasing a bourbon barrel aged Mad Elf,
Yes.
and it's coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
really.
Yep.
Well, jingle my bells. I'm going to be a distributor tomorrow.
It's distillery only release.
Distillery
Oh,
only
wow.
release.
Interesting.
So I'm going to be there Friday, so I might be able to pick you some up.
Let's do that.
Spoiler alert.
We'll work. I'll
Apparently
meet
they're
you out front of your house. You can give it to me in a brown bag.
Sure, if you want.
The neighbors will give you side eyes, like, what's going on here? That's okay.
That's all right.
There's that guy in a minivan again.
You want to crack another one? What else you got going over there?
Yeah, this is a Pilsner that I have also. I got this down at Stockertown Beverage in Nazareth. I went there a few months ago looking for a Pilsner, and one of the employees there recommended this to me. And it's a very low German Pilsner, 3.2%.
Yeah, that is very low.
Very low.
To say my coffee in the morning has more alcohol than that.
Yeah. It's because you're putting Bailey's in it. Ooh, very nice color. Super light in color.
Yes, very.
3.2%.
Oh, this is McKellar. Very nice.
Yes.
Okay. What's the name of it?
Run This Town, I think.
Run This Town. Yeah, you nailed it.
You shared one of these with me before.
Oh,
It
I
was
did,
very
yeah.
good. It was very good. Yeah.
McKellar makes some
Yes, they do.
stellar beer.
Stockertown has a ton of McKellar.
Where are they
Awesome.
located? Are they located here in PA?
No, this is a West Coast beer.
Oh, okay.
California, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I've forgotten that you have been out there a few times.
Yeah.
Quasi recently.
Sorry. I didn't know you were talking to me. I thought you were talking to Eddie, and then I looked
There
at
was
you
some
staring at
lag
me
in the- yeah,
awkwardly, and I was like, "Uh-oh, that was for me." Yes, I have been to the West Coast before, and I can't remember. I'll have to look up on Untapped what else of McKellar I've had
Okay.
before.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, this has a slight funk on the nose.
I don't pick up any flavor at all.
No?
Like nothing. It's like carbonated water.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'm not.
super light.
It's very,
Yeah.
very light for a Pilsner, yeah.
This, I would say, like we were talking earlier, this is the beer where I just mowed the lawn.
Yeah.
I'm drenched in sweat. I come inside. I'm pounding 2 of these.
It's
The reason
malt.
I bought this, the reason I bought this originally back several months ago, but this is another couple 4-packs of these, but I bought a case of this because we had a golf tournament, and he recommended, there you go, this is a good case of beer to buy for a golf tournament, and they were definitely right.
No, definitely. Yeah, you could drink
Yeah.
a 6-pack of this and still be fine to drive the car and drive home.
It was the malt I'm picking up. I'm sensitive to that flavor because I've done home brewing a number of times. My grandfather, my dad, and I used to brew when I was just kind of old enough to brew. And
Quote unquote.
quote unquote, yeah, we'll go with that. And
Sweatshop.
I'm used to that very strong malt smell. That very
You get that
strong.
with the German Pilsner.
Yeah. And come from a German family. Fun fact about the Welser clan, which is my last name. Apparently, my ancient ancestor owned a lovely little brewery and sold it like 500 years ago to some dude with the last name of Spaten. So we really screwed that one up in the grand scheme of things. But
I found out not too long ago that my great-grandfather was actually arrested for bootlegging during Prohibition. So that'll be a fun fact for later when I tell
By the way,
that story.
Dan just one upped you. By the way,
yeah, I know. Seriously.
That's amazing.
Seriously.
Yeah.
one upped everybody though with that.
Yeah,
I love an entrepreneur.
bootlegger. Who knew?
We'll talk about you during the COVID lockdown, your bourbon finding bordered.
You talk about things that have changed, things that could have been, something they're not as a result of COVID. In my opinion, the entire whiskey world was kind of affected by that. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like everybody and their brother all of a sudden decided they were going to develop a taste for rye, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, whatever. So like the demand and supply
Yep.
of bottles it's ridiculous, and it feels like it changed overnight. But
Is there any way to track, say, like your local liquor store is getting a new case of? Is that a thing?
you would not believe the
Oh, it
lengths
is a thing.
some people go to.
Oh, my goodness,
Oh my
okay.
god, dude! Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There are people who make a living as brokers for whiskey.
I'm sure. Okay.
And I've talked to a person who does this for a living before.
Yeah.
And they do not disclose what they even have in their collections because they're worth so much money that they would get robbed instantly.
Okay.
Their collections are worth like millions of dollars. It's insane. And it's all exclusivity stuff.
Sure.
It's a whole different realm when you get to that level where it's like so exclusive that you're paying tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars bottles.
those are pretty rare bottles.
yeah,
too,
Yeah.
Like a Pappy or something like
No,
that.
even those don't get up into that range.
Oh, okay.
Like you're talking about some 40, 50-year-old Macallan. I can't say Macallan. Macallan.
There you go.
There it is. Yeah, the 40, 50-year-old
Really?
Macallan scotches are 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 bottles. Like,
Wow.
It's absolutely insane.
It's crazy. And it's
If
like
somebody offered me a drink of that, I'd be like, no.
Well,
like,
yeah.
I would feel too guilty, but no, thank
There,
you.
the weird thing about it is because the market changed the way that it did, like bottles that people had acquired that are just sitting in their cabinets, like in some cases unopened or opened, go from being a $100 bottle to a $2,000 bottle in a relatively short period of time.
Yep.
So then the question really becomes like, oh shit, should I drink this or not?
Yeah.
Like,
Is it an investment at this
Yeah,
point?
Sure.
All right.
Does it affect it like similar like a wine if you open it? Does the flavor, diminish over time?
yeah, it can,
Okay.
but the window for it's a lot longer than wine.
Sure.
You're talking like the 2-year range.
Okay.
18 months to 2 years is usually about how long it'll go, but it also depends on how much alcohol is in the bottle yet. Because if there's more air than alcohol, then it can start to kind of change over a little quicker. And there's even people that don't believe that's true either. And I mean, I've drank bottles that were open for 5 or 6 years, and it's not like it went beer and it went skunky.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit more ethanol on it. Like
Okay.
Interesting.
you lose a little bit of the flavor, you get a little bit more of the alcohol burn, whatever.
So you have one more beer, and all this bourbon talk has me wanting to get to the bourbon. So let's splash through. I'm going to rush it. Let's splash through that mosaic you got there.
This one I actually just picked up this past weekend at Ballbird's Brewery when I was down there for they had a dueling pianos, which by the way was an absolute fantastic time.
Oh,
And
that would be cool.
it was amazing. So much fun. Brewery does amazing events. They make fantastic beer. And so this is the Royal Mosaic, a single hop IPA.
Awesome. I also looked up, couldn't find what other McKellar beer. I wish Siobhan was here. She is internally screaming over the void what beer I've had from them before.
Yeah.
Can't get it though.
Quality wife will do that. Scream through the void. You can hear their voice in your head. I'm going to sleep on the couch for that
I
comment.
was going to say, you get married long enough and it's no longer a void. It's just
Editing that one, right?
No, you can leave that in. It's fine. I'm not worried.
I got you.
I was going to send his wife a link. I wasn't going to edit that.
No, she's pretty chill.
She is pretty chill.
Pine trees?
This is a piney one.
I got pine. Yep.
I will say this. I'm not a beer guy, but drinking bourbon for as long as I have and, you know, as much as I do, like it does help you pick out the flavors and the smells and other stuff.
Mosaic hop, I think traditionally is. I think it is more of a 50-50 between piney and like a fruity.
Yeah, I definitely get the fruit too, but
Yeah.
definitely more pine in the mosaic hop than in the monkish.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Personally, as a single hop IPA.
honestly, I would probably drink this. Like, you know, if I wasn't reaching for bourbon, I was looking for a beer, I would, yeah. That's pretty rare for me to say for an IPA.
There are certain IPAs that I feel hide the bitterness behind all of the citrus flavors very, very well. And those are the ones that Siobhan and I call them like gateway IPAs, where these are the ones where I will convince you to drink IPAs with these beers because they're not the bitter, yucky mouthfeel beers.
How do you guys feel about beers with lactose?
Love them.
Okay.
Ooh.
Personally, love the lactose
milk
beers.
beers. Is that what they are?
They're just more creamy.
Yeah.
They're more rich, I will say.
I'm not the biggest fan. I just think lactose can hide. They can hide a lot.
It
I don't
does.
think I've
It does
ever had
cover
one.
flavors.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to turn it over to Dan.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
I don't think it's a step too far to say who would be the resident bourbon expert here.
Nobody's throwing a challenge flag
I'm
at
a
him.
little
Yeah.
reluctant to say I'm an expert in anything, but yeah, I do know a lot. And yeah, my wife always says you can tell how drunk I am because of how much I talk about bourbon and how much I like bourbon and all that.
Yeah.
You're like me with Penn State football.
Well, it's all right. So the premise behind the bottle that I've got here today, which is a New Riff single barrel bourbon, is that each distillery does their whole process a little differently, but they make up like a big giant thing of mash. And by a big giant thing, I mean probably like 3,000 to 5,000 gallons of it. And then they distill it down into a batch of bourbon. And then they take that bourbon and they put it in barrels. And, one vat could probably fill, I don't know, don't quote me, 50, 100 barrels or whatever. And then those barrels go into the rick houses and then they sit. So, where they are in the rick house is going to determine the temperature and the overall environment that the barrel sits in. And each barrel is going to get a slightly different end result, even though it started at the same basic ingredients that went into it. So that's the whole idea behind single barrels. So this barrel itself is one that I picked myself with a group, I want to say back in January. So we went down to the New Riff Distillery in Newport, Kentucky. We met with their single barrel ambassador, and they gave us a tour of the distillery. Well, not the distillery, the rick house and bottling process.
Wow.
When we were done with that, they took us into this really nicely well-appointed room, and they've got table set out, and there were samples from 5 different barrels there. So we got to choose which one we liked best, and then whatever that one was, then they take us back out onto the floor, and the barrel is literally sitting right there. And they slap a sold sign on it. You thief out like a 50 milliliter sample bottle to take with you when you get home. And then they take that barrel over to their bottling line and they bottle it up. And those are your bottles. So like that's your barrel whiskey.
Wow.
So yeah, that was kind of the whole process that went
Yeah.
behind this. So this bottle of New Riff is going to be unlike any other bottle of New Riff because it's a single barrel. So they can't quite directly replicate it. And in my opinion, having had 10, 15 different single barrels from them at this point, this is probably my favorite one. There's only 2, as far as I know, 2 or 3 bottles of this left in existence, so you guys should enjoy this.
Wow.
Oh, wow. How is that smooth?
It is really smooth. It's
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is.
we talk about proof. This one proofed out at 112.5. So it's 61 and a half, or no, I'm sorry, 56. Yeah, like 56% alcohol, 56.25. So, yeah, New Riff as a distillery is probably one of my favorite up-and-coming distilleries. They've only been around for 10, 12 years. They've got a pretty cool backstory behind them.
So, how many bottles do you end up getting out of a single barrel?
One of theirs, it varies a little barrel to barrel, but the maximum amount I think you can get out of one of theirs is 240.
Wow.
Okay.
So in this case, we bought, and by we I mean the group that I was part of, bought 167 out of the 195 I think it was that netted out. So I guess there could still be a few bottles from barrel number 6,518 out there somewhere.
Wow.
That's so cool.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah,
For barrel 6,518.
Yep.
absolutely.
Stellar sip.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. So I brought this one. I actually just got back from Kentucky. We did a second pick. And I've got another, back at the house, and that one proofed out at 114.5. So it's a little hotter than this one. So it was interesting to do side by sides between the two. It's weird because like the smell from that second one, I like that a lot more, but I like the flavors in this one a lot more. So it's
This
kind of a toss up.
This has the burn.
Oh, yeah.
It does,
doesn't-
yeah.
It does.
It doesn't kill you with the burn.
No.
Because you feel the flavor still, but I could understand how one that's a little more mellow allows you to get more of that flavor.
Such a smooth mouthfeel, though. That's what makes it.
Yeah.
It's very.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't
I didn't taste
kill
it
your
in the
palate.
mouth. It hit the
Yeah.
tongue and went right down. And
Yeah,
it's just, I feel like the need to say thank you, Dan. That was,
Oh, no,
Absolutely.
was outstanding bourbon.
It's definitely an enjoyable bottle to drink. It's one of my favorites.
So the group that you pick with, is that the Lehigh Valley Bourbon Club Society?
No, actually, it's not. I am familiar with that group, and there's a couple others that are in the Lehigh Valley that, I'm a member of those groups. This group is actually a cigar group. So that's actually how I ended up getting into whiskey in the first place, is I got into cigars first. And so
It's just
kind of
it was
this
a gateway
evolution.
sub
that's a-
tobacco.
that's
is
a
the gateway
collaboration.
You know what
substance.
the great thing about it is, guys, is that my wife was the one that pushed the cigar thing first, so I can blame all this stuff back on her.
There you go.
because She started me down that road.
You get so few of those.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, it was about 5 years ago. We were in Jamaica. She's like, "Yeah, we should get some cigars and smoke them on the beach because why not?"
Yeah,
There you go.
course.
Yeah.
Jamaica.
Yeah. So and that's where it went.
Probably grab a couple of Cubans down there too. And
Well, yeah, you could do that for sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
they were a little on the pricey side, but there was some.
Are you primarily someone who drinks just straight, or are you into the cocktail scene as well? There's obviously a big delineation between I would never mix this.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
yes,
You
no,
could, you
sacrilege.
could, you could,
Yes.
and it would probably make a really good cocktail.
Old fashioned.
Yeah, we mix some cocktails on a pretty regular basis, and I have used bottles for mixers that some people would find offensive.
Yeah,
But
I've done that before.
My thing
We
is,
all have, yeah.
I buy a lot of different kinds of whiskey. I buy a lot of different brands and like different types. So be it foolproof stuff or small batch stuff. And if I don't like it, like I'll let it hang out for a while and I'll go back to it and try it a couple of times. But
Sure.
after like the third or fourth go round, if it's still not good, it becomes a mixer, and I don't care what it is. Like it's just
That's a
I
that's
don't
a great
have
way to think
unlimited
of
Your
it.
personal
Space.
preferences,
Yeah.
like whatever.
Weller brand is a great example of this, and I made this like apple pie whiskey thing for Christmas or for Thanksgiving, just a couple weeks ago, and I used Weller Special Reserve for it. And it's not the hardest thing in the world to find, but it's also not readily available. And a couple of guys that I talked to about this were like, "Why the hell would you use it?" Because it was fine, like
Yeah.
Yeah, I do definitely believe that you should enjoy your whiskey how you like your whiskey. If you want water in it, put water in it. You want to put it on ice, put it on ice. You want to put it on Coke, fine.
I
do
would
that.
feel really guilty putting an ice cube
Yeah,
in
just
this
let-
one or
just
ruining
know-
that flavor somehow.
But you know what, though? It's a matter of how you enjoy it and what you like. Like, if you're going to find it more enjoyable by throwing an ice cube in there and having it a little colder, then do that.
That's
you
true.
know?
Have you ever
That's
did
true.
the entire Kentucky Bourbon Trail? Have you ever did that?
Oh, yeah. I've been to a bunch of distilleries down in Kentucky. There's some that are really, really fun, really cool people. Like Maker's Mark is,
Okay.
if you're going to go down to Kentucky and you're going to go down to Bardstown specifically, Maker's Mark is definitely somewhere that everyone should check out because it's mainly intact, like from back in the 1800s of when it
wow.
was built. So a lot of the same buildings are there, and some of the same processes are even still there. Like the printing
Okay.
press that they make all their labels for their regular release stuff is the same one. So
Wow.
like, they still hand dip all their bottles in wax at Maker's Mark.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's
I've seen
definitely
videos of
really
that, which
cool.
is
yeah,
really
I
fun.
might have
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Maker's Mark is definitely one that I would highly recommend checking out. And their stuff is all fairly easily obtainable. Like
Okay.
there's not this crazy hunt for any specific Maker's bottles. So if you find you have a taste for it, you can pretty much grab it anywhere.
I'm going to put Kentucky as a waypoint in the Matt and Friends Drink the Universe nav computer.
Then
We'll get in the Matt and Friends Drink the Universe minivan.
Yeah.
when you were there, did you see like the barrels?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
were they selling those? Like maybe brewers that pick those up to make their own kind of stouts? And...
There, you absolutely can. Like
sure,
if you
yeah.
buy an entire barrel from New Riff, they'll give you the barrel.
Okay.
Like, so if you buy all 240 bottles, excuse me, if you buy all 240 bottles, the barrel comes with it. And if you
Okay.
don't buy all 240 bottles from a barrel you pick, then you can buy the barrel for like $150.
Okay. Is that what they call it? Is that what the was it the Devil's Cut, Angel's Cut? Is that a myth or is that like a real thing?
Well, there's two different things. There's Angel's Share and there's Devil's Cut.
Okay.
Like Devil's Cut's really something that Jim Beam has really been pushing as kind of their exclusive thing.
Okay.
I don't know how
Marketing
they
ploy.
yeah.
that might be time for your science button over there, but
Oh, what happened?
There we go.
I
So-
scienced and it didn't science button. Hold on.
Science.
It doesn't work without Rob here. Why? Button revolted.
So the Devil's Cut, the idea behind it that Jim Beam is pushing is
Sure.
like they extract the bourbon that has soaked into the wood.
Yes.
For me, that just means you're gonna have really woody bourbon. Like, it's gonna be, you can pick up the oak in the flavor profile. Like if you're extracting bourbon from the actual oak itself, I gotta imagine it's gonna be pretty oaky. But whatever, if you like it. The Angel Share piece is the bourbon that evaporates during the aging process. So like it escapes out of the barrels themselves. So, they fill up a 250 gallon barrel and they open it and there's 210 gallons in there. While the missing share is the Angel Share. Yeah.
Okay.
Marketing again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you,
Possibly.
if you go to Bardstown, which is like the bourbon capital of Kentucky, and you
Okay.
walk around, you can smell the bourbon in the air. Like the smell
okay,
of
never
the
mind, I take that
distilling
back.
spirits in the
Oh,
air.
that's
It's-
awesome.
It's pretty crazy. It also leaves this like black mold like behind.
Never
Everywhere.
mind.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Probably not something you want to bottle and put as an air freshener in your car.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on how into it you are.
Yeah, I guess. I'm surprised you came back as you're describing this. You're like, I've been there several times and I've come back to Pennsylvania voluntarily. Like,
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's nice to visit, but it's always good to come home.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool place. If you're into whiskey, everybody wants to go there. The problem I always find is that, like, everybody thinks you're going to be able to find like this ridiculously hard to find bottle just sitting on the shelf at a store down there, and it's like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, probably 40 years ago that was the case.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Even 10 years ago, I bet. I talked to guys that have been into this, the whiskey scene, the bourbon scene, and like the most hard to find bottles in the country, really, used to be readily available in stores as recently as like 5 or 6 years ago. So that's when I talk about like COVID, like doing
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, even at the start of COVID, like I used to be able to, Blanton's bourbon is one that people seek out for whatever
yeah.
reason. And, at the start of COVID, like they would get a delivery of that at one of the local liquor stores and it would still be there 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I would go over and grab up a bottle after work, or as, whatever. Now it's gone before 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So like, unless you're pretty much there when it shows up, like the people will show up at the store and, they'll buy it out. And they limit the purchase amounts too. So,
So it's almost similar to like a Nike trade game shoe.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me, the Nike shoe trade.
yeah.
there is that with everything now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
though.
true.
You're right about
That's
that.
very true.
Beer is that way,
Oh, yeah.
Everything now has that exclusivity market where especially some people will actively try and buy as much of it as they can to make it exclusive as well.
Right.
Of course.
So I applaud different vendors who do limited releases as
Yes.
well, because that makes it a little better. One of my favorite breweries, Heady Topper, up from Alchemist, up in Vermont, you can't get that outside of Vermont. They only distribute it within Vermont. And when you go to Vermont to get it, you can only get maybe 4 or 5, there's a limit on the number of 4-packs that you can get. And that's a great way to like control that, because there are people out there who would just go and buy 40 cases of it because they just want
Okay.
it for themselves,
Of course.
and maybe they'll sell some of it off. And then no one else gets to get it. So the idea of distilleries doing the whole like barrel select process,
Yeah.
that's so cool. And at that point, like, how many years has that been aging in the barrel?
Well, I mean, this
In
bottle.
this case.
Yeah, I mean, this particular one. I
Like
think it's on
5?
here. Yeah, it was barreled on October 31st, so Halloween Day in 2017. It was bottled on March 22nd of 2022. So 4.5 years.
Yeah.
So
Almost 5 years. Yeah.
New Riff only sells what are called bottled in bond bourbons, which are a minimum of 4 years of aging. So,
Okay, 4.
Yeah, the bottled in bond act. Yeah, well, we're gonna go down the whole technical rabbit hole.
Sure,
if we talk
sure.
about all that stuff.
Well, again, with my completely unexpert opinion, will say I've had a bourbon that has been aged for only a half year. I've had a bourbon aged for a year. I've had a bourbon aged for 2 years. So it was the same distiller. I won't mention names, but the same. So the same process for all of it in just a different amount of aging, and clearly the 6-month and the 12-month were bad bourbons. They were not up to snuff. It was super acidic. It was super alcoholic. And you just had none of the mellow flavors that you would expect from an aged bourbon.
Yep.
So, something like this, even at just simply 4.5 years, killed it with that process. But I would say at 6 months would have not been good. Even no one in the world can produce that flavor at 6 months of aging.
And they're trying. Like
Everybody is.
They're dumping all sorts of science into trying to figure out ways to rapid age bourbon and whiskey in general.
Every startup distillery has tried that, and it just doesn't work.
All good things take time, kids. All
You
good
can
things
do
take
you
time.
can do it with vodka. You can do it with tequila. You can do it with rum. All of those spirits. But when you get in the whiskey realm, you got to age them.
I recently had a bourbon barrel stout that I aged for maybe a little over a year. When I had it aged, out, I didn't refrigerate it like a traditional bourbon barrel stout. You let that just sit. Comparison to one that I had initially when I bought it. By letting it age, when I did finally drink it, it was definitely more bourbon flavoring.
Yeah.
It was very. I don't understand. I'm not going to try to get into the science. In all reality, it just like the bourbon flavoring was more prolific in that one for sure.
What, were you aging it in bottles?
It was in a bottle. Yeah, I just let it sit for about a little over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comparison to when I had it initially and just on a draft, it was fantastic. That's my my preference.
Awesome. What an amazing. We hit everything today.
We did.
I should have brought a rye whiskey too. I mean, geez.
Well,
We'll wait. Go home and get it. We'll be
save
here.
We've got time.
I might distract you and run out of here with this one.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, you were talking about malt. Malted rye whiskey is a staple for these guys.
So, one of the ideas for season 2 is to do a bourbon bracket.
You're going to need that Uber sponsor for that.
100%.
Oh, we'll
That'll be on
definitely
a
need to-
Saturday
yeah,
night.
we'll get vouchers.
That is not a midweek podcast.
No,
And you're going to need
that's
that censor button to be pretty well oiled and ready to go.
Yep, we do have one of those, but to do a booze battle with a bourbon theme is definitely on the horizon for season 2. And with that said, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Thank you all for bringing some absolutely outstanding drinks.
We got beer.
We did get beer. This is how we got beer.
We killed this.
We did.
Okay. I've been in, I don't know how many episodes now. Clearly, from a drink perspective,
Oh, yeah.
number one.
You know what?
I'm blushing. I'm blushing.
There you go.
The whole episode.
I'm just going to,
Hit it.
Oh, there it is.
Stellar
This
Sid.
episode's boozy quote comes from Mark Twain, who said, "If I cannot drink bourbon and smoke cigars in heaven, then I shall not go." Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Google, Spotify, wherever else you prefer to get your podcast from. As always, please push all the buttons for us on social media and visit mattandfriendsdtu.com. That's mattandfriendsdtu.com for more information.